What's up guys, Hotshotfrontier back at it again with another video. And in this video guys, this is our Handtrap tier list for October 2023. So I was on YouTube watching the live stream of YCS Dortmund and I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time to go ahead and release a tier list video for you guys. So we have our tiers, we have meta worthy, main deck it, decent enough, sided in there, and nada. Not good for this format, but maybe next format, right? Before we begin, if you guys have not checked out my budget tier list video that I released pretty recently, go ahead and check that out because we actually put some amazing decks at the top level. But let's go ahead and get into this video. Starting off with Sneaky C, I'm gonna put that in nada. I'll put the description of the card on the video for you guys to see, but yeah, this card is just not good. I think if this was released later, like way before, this would have been relevant at that time. Unfortunately though, it's just way too slow and I don't think it's going to get better anytime soon. Moving on, we have Droll, and Drolls are interesting because right now it's still meta worthy, right? And main deck it, but eventually I think it'll go back to like decent enough. I'm gonna say for October though, it's still meta worthy. It's probably one of the lowest on meta worthy in my opinion because people are going to be moving away from this as, you know, newer decks form and we get stuff from Age of Overlord. But let's see what happens, of course. Next up on the list, we have Phantasme. So I'm actually going to put this meta worthy. Reason being is that we have a lot of link-based strategies that are getting more popular now. You know, we have Salamangreat, there's still Marine Cess, you have Vanadium that they still actually use link monsters. And finally, guys, we have a deck like Dragon Link, which, of course, I know it got hit on the last Banlist, but it's something you should still watch out for. Now, going on to the next one, we have Ghost Ogre. And Ghost Ogre is a card that I would say is decent enough. But we see decks like Tierlist do very well this format. Then you can definitely use this against the field spell and other decks that, of course, you know, use stuff like that. But in general, it's a very good card to have. Right now, it's just decent enough against the hand traps that we currently have access to, and they're much better than it, in my opinion. Moving on, we have Ghost Reaper, definitely sided in there. It's always a good card to have in the side deck to play a lot of extra deck monsters, cards that you can't use for your strategy, but cards that you can banish away from your opponent's strategy, which is very nice. Next up, we have the Bystial monsters, which I'm going to put at meta worthy. This should be no surprise. These cards are absolutely insane. Even though we have the Magnamute at 1, people are still running these cards, which I think they still will be running these cards for a long time, unless we go away from decks like that use light and dark, you know, strategies inside them. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Moving on, we have the Cycle Reader, which I'm going to put at nada. So this is a card that's very good against something like Drytron, all light, or you could use this against Vanadium. You can argue that it's good. I think for now, we're going to leave it at nada. I really want to see if there's like a progression with this. This can go to sided in there, but for now, just leave it at nada. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring will always be a meta worthy card for sure. So definitely that's going to stay right there. Going on into the next one, we have DD Crow. You can either main deck it or side it in there. Main decking it's nice. I mean, now that we don't have the Arise Heart because that got banned, you can actually go ahead and I think we're going to see that resurgence of using certain like banish cards back into the deck or the side deck because now there's not that oppression of banishing everything that even goes to the graveyard, even attempt to go to the graveyard. That's my opinion though. Let's see what happens in the meta. Moving on, we have the Sirius, something like that, but pretty much it's like an imperm in the form of a monster. I think it's a worse impermanence, but it's still decent enough to be honest. Now, you could go ahead and run 6 copies, so run 3 of these and 3 imperms. The only problem is you can't set this, and unless you're running like a ritual-based strategy, you can take advantage of that card, right? Personally, if you do not want to pick up 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence because it might be expensive, you can go ahead and pick up 3 copies of this card. It's about $1 each and pretty good for your buck. Moving on, we have Contact C, which I'm going to put decent enough. It's insanely good against something like Branded Illusionist because it forces them to go into the Chimera plate early and basically destroy that pop. And honestly, it's very good against other decks. Now, it's not good against something like Rituals or Pendulums, but other than that, it's a very good card in general. I think we might see more playability of this card. Give it time. Moving on, we have Effect Veiler, and Effect Veiler is pretty good. I think you can main deck it. Now remember, it's only good on your opponent's main phase. That's the only restriction for this card. Other than that, it's a very good card. Moving on, we have Ghost Spell, which I'm going to put meta worthy. Again, now that we're seeing more graveyard shenanigans, this card will stop that. Moving on, we have D Shifter, and D Shifter is meta worthy. Now, unfortunately, this card did not get hit on the ban list like a lot of people thought it would, but I think, in my opinion, it's a necessary evil. You can't always have everything and just have nothing to give. So personally, I think it's like that nice, somewhat balance. Either you draw it or you don't draw it. It is what it is. This card's dead in hand if later in the game if you don't draw it in your opening hand. So I think it's somewhat a fair trade-off. All right, don't kill me. Moving on, we have Infinite Impermanence, which it's still meta-worthy. Again, like I said, it's a better Sirius, because it's in trap form. You can place it face down, activate it. That whole spell and trap card zone is negated. If your opponent forgets, then that's on them. But moving on, we have the next one, which is, so in all seriousness, I had to actually go ahead and look up the name of this card because I completely forgot. It's been so long since Dark Neostorm, but this is Gno material, which I'm going to say is nada. Unfortunately, this was good when we had stuff like 1 to 2 starters, and you immediately go ahead and activate this card. Your opponent can't do anything with that card, and that's pretty much it, right? They end their turn. Now, you could argue that if you use maybe this card plus 1 to 2 hand traps, this will stop their turn, but I think there are better hand traps you could be playing other than Gno material. Maybe in the future, we'll see. Moving on, we have another Ghost Sister card. We have the Ghost Mourner, and again, it's another impermanence. I think it's a better, say, Rainier. You could main deck this card right now, and again, it brings that like inflict damage to your opponent, which is really good in game, so it's kind of clutch. I would say main deck it. Next up is Skullmeister, which honestly, in my opinion, is a worse ghost spell, but it's still very good to negate something in the graveyard. Moving on, we have Chaos Hunter, which is very nice from preventing banishing from happening. Now we have a card that got off of the list and went back to 3 from the last ban list, and Herald of Orange Light, I would actually say that it is decent enough now that it's back to 3. I think it's going to be used in something like Drytron, of course. Now we have to see if Drytron is going to do as good as people are saying it will do, but only time will tell, of course. We have the DD Lancia, which is still a definitely sided in there. You don't usually main deck it. Now, if banishing becomes such a problem again, definitely DD Lancia will solve that issue if you can get into it. Now, this is going to be a hot take for sure, but I'm going to say Retaliating Sea is sided in there. The reason being is that if you can fulfill the summoning requirement and summon this on field, it's a Macrocosmos, and then this card becomes better later if we finally get Max C into the format, which I'm definitely not rooting for, but if it does happen, this card will go up in price for sure. Moving on, we have the Token Collector, which, that's interesting. Are tokens doing that well? You decided in there? Probably not. I mean, you have the Griffin, but, we justify stuff like that where if there are more tokens in the format, like a Bish Bulk FTK, then definitely go ahead and put Token Collector in your side deck or even main deck it. Moving on, we have the Gamma, which I almost forgot the name of that, a card that I haven't seen in so long. This card's at 1. People are not playing it, unfortunately. Now we have Nibiru, which is 100% meta worthy. Decks are still using it. There are a lot of strategies that can actually go ahead and prevent the Nibiru by summoning something like Baronet before their 5th summon. And if they do that, they can go ahead and negate it. But it's still good because you can get that negate off the field either way. So this card is still really good in the meta. Now we have finally this last Ghost Sister card, which I'll put on the screen for you guys, but pretty much it's very complicated and I don't think it works currently. I want to say it's decent enough, but for now, as the meta develops, we'll see if this card will actually go ahead and get better, right, as time goes. Now, guys, looks like that's the end of our Handtrap tier list for October 2023. If you guys agree with our picks, let me know down below. If not, also let me know down below. And guys, if you like this video, make sure you give it a huge like, comment down below. Did we miss any hand traps? I'll add it into the next one. And if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're updated the moment I upload new videos. But guys, that's it for me. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.